spend the rest of eternity in purgatory. Devil's got a dark brew for which I thirst. I'm in line to that flameful glory. As I approach those doors, all I smell is the soup seeping deep in my pores. As I approach those doors, all I smell is the soup seeping deep in my let others in the front so I could be second. I wanted to gauge how quick my descent would be. Welcome to Inferno, a loud voice beckon, where your soul's made faster for eternity. The devil laughed and remarked as his imps toss their sinners deep in the dark. The devil laughed and remarked as his imps toss those sinners deep in the dark. I close my eyes and feel those flames. I'm no longer playing Vine's games. Close my eyes and feel those flames. I'm no longer playing the divine's games. At the bottom we are placed, and I'm in third. In Vine where I burn, feeling so free. Laugh though I know not heard. Critters like me are lined up as far as the eye can see. And I fill my glass with the dirtiest of liquor. Turn my lighter with the sound of the flicker. Fill my glass with the dirtiest of liquor. Turn my lighter with the sound of a flicker. In the booths of the world on which I dwell, never read up to their rise to finding them. Booths of the world on which I dwell, never read up to their rye whiskey to find them.
Straight from the East Lansing Underground, this is 88.9, bringing you The Basement. I'm Liv.
And I'm Griffin.
And that was Devil's Rye Whiskey from a band called Hemlock Chaser. Can you guys take a moment and introduce yourselves?
I'm Finn.
I'm Silas.
I'm Sam.
And Trent.
Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. They made quite a drive, 7 hours from Stevens Point, right?
Yeah, 7.5.
7.5. How'd you guys kill time?
I didn't. I was speeding.
It's that delivery driver.
Yeah, I'm a pizza delivery driver on the side, so I'm used to it. But
I prefer to call him an Italian food distribution engineer.
yeah, I go fast. I don't know.
And you're starting your tour tomorrow?
Yeah, we're at Corktown Tavern
Yeah.
tomorrow in Detroit, right? Yeah, we're playing with our friends Constant Headache from Chicago.
Wow.
So it'll be a good time.
And you took this Arctic journey all the way from Wisconsin?
Well, it was Arctic either way. I mean,
It's actually
Nothing
warmer
or not,
here
yeah.
than in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's not saying much.
yeah, it was
There's
like
more snow here, though.
yeah, you guys are lucky for all that snow. It was like -20 back home. There was just salt. It wasn't anything else.
Salt and sadness.
Well, Hemlock Chasers, what do you hope to find here in Michigan?
A warm bed tonight. No, I don't know. We're just having fun. I don't get to come out to mainland Michigan, so it's just a good time, I guess.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you guys here. From what I understand, it's the first time you're playing a lot of these venues, right?
Oh, yeah.
How do you, as an artist, make those kinds of connections, in particular in a genre like folk punk, which isn't the most widespread of genres?
Yeah, it usually stays to the basement. You befriend a band that does
And
well.
then they know 40 other bands.
Yeah,
That's
and
just
then-
how it goes. But folk punk is so small, that makes it easier to
It's
do.
It's like so small, but at the same time like so big, and like again everyone knows each other. Like I met people on other tours that I've been on that are just like, oh wait, you know, blah 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 blah. I'm like, how do you know that? It's so cool.
Yeah, when you play Muddy Roots, you kind of meet all of the scene in one
Yeah,
place.
basically all the scene, and a lot of people knew you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's cool about more niche music communities. They seem really big because everyone who's in them is super involved and super present, you know, and even though it might be statistically a small community, I think it branches out pretty quickly. But for those who are listening who maybe aren't familiar with exactly what folk punk is, can you guys give us a rundown?
So, I got asked this a while ago, and like, I guess what got me into folk punk is, well, Finn here, but like Pat the Bunny, Defiance, Ohio, you know.
Mischief Brew and Days
Mischief
and Days.
Brew.
Those are like the big ones.
Yeah, and they're like, I mean, essentially what their sound breaks down to is like they have some folk influence, but they're mostly just people who couldn't play. They would be traveling a lot or just couldn't afford like electric gear, so they'd just be doing punk music over, you know, with acoustic instruments. And then it's kind of evolved into like we met Riley from Riley Yard Ghosts, who Riley Yard Ghosts is like, it's just essentially a folk band, but they're like really into metal, so it just kind of like widens out like that. I don't know. I'm not good at describing it, but it's mostly just people who can't bring around amps all the time.
Well, since you are on tour, just someone who's somewhat new to folk, how would you separate Midwestern folk versus like folk out west or folk from the South? Or like, how do you distinguish?
So, a lot of folk music in especially like the Central South, so like Louisiana, you know, New Orleans, has a specific sound in like their vocals and is more influenced by like ragtime and jazz. Whereas up here, I feel like we get like the biggest influence is probably from like Appalachian, like bluegrass and stuff. So I grew up in a bluegrass community, so it's more just like straightforward picking, you know. And then on the West Coast, that's like I don't really know. That's kind of a
That's a whole other thing.
It's kind of got more like a Western, like cowboy sound. Like
Yeah.
I've noticed that like a lot of like bands that I've listened to and like seen live that are from like that area. It's just it's definitely a lot more like bouncy in a way. Like the picking is a lot more bouncy.
I got a lot of.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
Well, let's talk about this next song here, Hard Luck Stories. In this piece, how can we hear some of these characteristics? What makes your genre, your iteration of folk and folk punk unique?
Oh, that's a good one.
The lyrics on that one are more than anything, but the heart of it is grass.
Yeah, it's mostly bluegrass influenced, which, again, I grew up in that, and, like, that's pretty much all I heard most of my developmental years. But, yeah, it's mostly just bluegrass. And, like, as for, like, the lyrics, I don't know. I think of them as corny, but I don't know. I'm not the best judge of character for myself, so. I guess, like, it's mostly influenced by my dad's band, I would say.
Yeah.
Once again, you're listening to Hemlock Chaser, and this is Hard Luck Stories.
All right.
Oh Lord of mine, I've been searching through your shadows, struggling to find peace of mind. And when I wake, well, I ask, does it matter? Do I hit the high line and right away? If I head out there, will I find a place where I can rest my head? If there's a crowd gathering round, do you think they're listening to the words that I'm saying? All them miles in front of me lead back to where I've been, telling hard luck stories, trying to make a couple cents. When hunger pains, they creep along my cheekbones, will you still look at me the same? I'll be around, I'll be picking on the corner, trying to find a ride out of this town. The thirst has brought me to my knees, blindly crawling this land. Feel my disease got in me, losing all the time I got on hand. I am one undifferent to you, struggling to make amends, telling hard luck stories, trying to make a couple cents. And time may pass, though I'm sure I would notice. No, the scars appear much too fast. I'll be around, I'll be picking on the corner, trying to find a ride out of this town. The thirst has brought me to my knees, blindly crawling this land. Feel my disease got in me, losing all the time I got on hand. I am one undifferent to you, struggling to make amends, telling hard luck stories, trying to
The next song will be What a Drag.
This is like the actual punk one. That's right. You good? All right. Well, let's wing it, right? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wake up at noon, broken glass in the carpet, there's people in the lawn, and they know it's not dark yet, and my brain is losing water, ground's giving way, my prefrontal cortex is starting to decay, I've lost my edge on all my friends, lights are feeling lonely, and the memories never seem to end, I'm considered lilies, but my mail still will come, even if I shut the blinds and pretend that there is no sun, and honestly, no, it ain't all bad, but I said, man, oh man, what a drag. It's all so messed up, you say it so easily. I'll mess it up 1,000 times, yes, that's my main ability. I said to myself, which is ironic, cause the movement in my brain is really catatonic. I say anything I believe, but only on holidays. Cause if it was weekly, yes, I'd probably get locked away. I don't care anymore, you'll have to hear me scream about my unrelenting hate for human beings. And honestly, no, it ain't all that. But I said, man, oh man, what a drag.
So Silas, you mentioned that one of your big influences is your dad's band, right?
Yeah, my dad is in a band called Sloppy Joe, and it's a very funny name. I don't know.
I saw someone with a Sloppy Joe sticker. I was wondering.
Oh yeah. Finn here was wearing one of their hats today, but
Yeah, put the stickers on my case.
yeah, I am quite fond of the band, and my mom's in a band too, Irene's Garden. They're both great musicians, and then I just try my best. So.
Can he make some fire sloppy Joe?
Oh no! Don't let him hear that, but he cannot.
Well, I'm really interested about everyone's starting point, really, because if you're listening to the broadcast, just for context, right to left in the room here, we have an upright bass, a violin, a steel guitar, right?
Resonator guitar. Yeah.
Resonator guitar, and a mandolin. So, just a theory, I'm shooting it out here. I have a feeling this is not where you guys started learning these instruments. And I'd love to know if you ever thought that it would end up being used this way.
So I originally started playing violin in 5th grade. I had shown no musical merit to my parents whatsoever, and then one day I came home apparently and said, "Mom, I want to learn how to play violin." And she was like, "You've never shown interest in music, but you know what? I'll support you." And she rented me a fiddle. Well, it was called a violin at that time to me. And then I kind of got roped into a youth bluegrass ensemble and did that from ages 12 to 19. And from there, college passed a couple years, and then I saw that there was I had never seen these two words together, folk punk show going on at a venue that was like 2 miles from my school. That band was, those bands were Holy Locust, Bridge City Sinners, and Days and Days. And I had never heard anything like it before, and I was immediately hooked. And I got to talking to the bands afterwards, and I was like, this sounds really cool. I want to do this. How do I get started? And from there, my little folk punk / like alternative bluegrass journey began from there. And now I'm getting to do this like part-time, and it's really what I love. So it was just that one show. It could have, that like changed my entire perception on like what folk music can be.
Yeah.
Finn and I were at that show. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No way.
Yeah, we were like front and center. I was the
Wait.
one that held the glockenspiel for Crazy in the Brains.
I remember you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Folk
Laura
punk community is really small. Wow.
Very small.
Trent, how about you?
Yeah, nobody ever chooses the upright bass as their first instrument because it's huge and you got to carry it everywhere. So yeah, when I was little, there were a couple like Beatles cover bands, blues cover bands in the town that I grew up in, and a couple of guys kind of took me under the wing, taught me how to play guitar when I was 10 or 12, somewhere in there, and quickly switched over to electric bass because the school needed a bass player for their jazz band. And you can see where the cards are falling now.
Yeah.
But eventually, yeah, I picked up this upright bass freshman year of high school. Just been playing it ever since. And kind of got out of it for a little while, but these guys roped me back into it a little while ago.
Yeah, you don't have much of a choice. You're going to keep
Yeah,
playing
I know.
upright.
Once you start playing upright bass, everyone's expecting you to play it forever now. So
Well, I will say you're the first upright bass that we've had in studio.
well, that's pretty cool.
Finn, how about you? Mandolin, I'm so curious about. How does one stumble into the mandolin?
Well, I grew up playing violin until I graduated high school, and what is it, like right before I stopped, like I graduated high school, I picked up the mando because the mando and the violin have the same strings. So I already knew like half of it going into it. It's just I have it way easier time with mando though. But I'm mostly a bass player. I'm not like professional mando or anything, but my music comes from bass, not mando. In violin, but
Hey Silas, I have a question for you. Do you consider yourself a storyteller?
Oh, I don't know.
And like, well, out of the group, whose story are you telling?
Those are good questions. I'm bad at questions, I realize.
Who's writing?
I mean, I am, but I don't know. I don't put a lot of forethought in like anything. So, like,
Not even when you're delivering pizzas?
No, I probably turned off like my brain the most. I just zoom, and I end up at a place, and I'm like, oh, look I gotta deliver this pizza. I don't know, like, a lot of like, I think folk as a whole, is just kind of telling stories that have been told before, like it like a lot of older music is what we play or are influenced by, and so you use those mannerisms, those lyrics, and those melodies to kind of just like continuously. It's like that one really important book, The Odyssey.
I wasn't listening and I was gonna say the Bible.
No, it was more like The Odyssey, but yeah, it's just like I think folk as a whole is just like, it's kind of funneling down an oral tradition. So, I mean, it just continuously goes.
You know, I gotta wonder, because I notice this a lot, like in your lyrics and your song titles, it plays into a lot of these tropes or these motifs of folk culture. But when you're creating music and you're kind of speaking through this medium, is it ever difficult to express your own thoughts or feelings when you're kind of like limited to this traditional set of imagery or
And-
language?
Yeah, and like, when do you come and say, I'm gonna bring something new? And
Yeah, so I guess like Hard Luck Stories is a good one to bring up. It's using a lot of imagery of like travelers I've met and their stories and their words essentially, and then I just kind of retell it, and it's not really so much my own. I incorporate some stuff about like there's a line in there about like just playing music on the corner and hoping to get out of the town that I'm from, and it eventually happened. But it's like that's kind of like me speaking through it, but most of that song surrounds things I've been told by other like travelers and folk musicians. And then like What a Drag is that was just about living at a punk house that I lived at. So that one's pretty like I can just say, well, I can't say all of those things because
It's quite the
we're
story.
on air.
It's,
But
it's a relatable song, though.
yeah, he also lived at a punk house. It was pretty disgusting. It's awesome though. I love that place.
Oh, yeah. Good memories.
Yeah, you slept on the stage for like a week.
Don't bring up that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like I feel like all words are really borrowed in a way. So whether you're borrowing them to continue a story or incorporate into your own, it's just kind of the lineage of speech, I guess.
Do you have a story about being a farmer or?
This next song is my dad's song. He has a story about it, and I don't think he wants. I mean,
What crop?
we'll just.
We're in
use,
Michigan. It's fine.
Yeah, but he's not.
He's not about that life anymore.
No, he's not about that. I guess just use insight for this one, because hi, Dad. I don't know. I don't want to say too